Paradise PD is the latest animated show to be aired on Netflix. Created by Brickleberry creators Waco and Roger Black, it follows the local police department and all of the adventures and messed up crimes that the town goes through. With its adult humour, it's the latest animated show targeted towards adults and late teenagers to be released on the platform, and attempt to make its viewers laugh and stay engaged. But did it succeed? Let's find out. Before I go ahead, make sure you go over to my Twitter @brainpilot_ and tweet me your favourite character from the show. I'll be sure to reply. So without further ado, I'm Brainpilot, and here is Paradise PD. Is it worth watching? I'll keep it as spoilerless as possible. The story. Within the town Paradise, you follow the town's local police department, but more specifically, you follow the life of Kevin and how he is stuck in the middle of his parents' toxic, post-divorce life relationship. Kevin always had aspirations of being a police officer when he was younger, and due to his dad being the chief of the police department and his mother being the mayor, despite his father not wanting him to work there, he gets a job despite being awful at it. Throughout the season, there are several different mini-stories that happen throughout the show, such as the drug chicken story, the dogfighting story, the Dungeons and Dragons story, and several others. However, whilst this is happening, there is a larger story that runs all throughout the season regarding the drugs and how they are still on the streets, despite the leader being killed, yet the same brand of meth being out there. I'm a fan of the mini-stories that happen within all of the episodes. They tackle subjects that are relevant in the real world, such as the black cop shooting story. It touches on how people don't like the police anymore or want to be in the police anymore, and despite the fact that he accidentally shot himself, he was still being prosecuted, and the story blew up in the public and went nationwide on the news. As well as that, all throughout the story, the jokes that are made are hilarious. They also touch on relevant topics in the humour, such as when the hobo cop got blown up by the bomb diffuser robot due to the fact that it was created by Samsung. Obviously, Samsung were in the news not that long ago regarding their phones exploding, and as well incorporating the Stranger Things kids in the show with the lisp as well. This was when Kevin is caught playing Dungeons and Dragons. The show is good at staying on top with pop culture and current trends, which makes the jokes land even harder. The story seems well thought out and there aren't any holes in the plot. The characters. Kevin. Kevin is the main character that you follow. He's a bit of a loser type character, but you feel yourself rooting for him a lot of the time. He tries his hardest, most probably more than what anybody else does in the police force, and even though he does that, many of them do not want to work with him. He gets himself in trouble quite a bit, but he always manages to get himself out of it. In the first episode, he shot his dad in the balls, and that sums his character throughout the whole season up completely, despite the fact that it happened 13 years prior to what we're watching. He's extremely funny and makes a great lead character. He's got a tough dad who wants the best for him and just wants him to toughen up. That's probably something that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. Kevin's dad. Kevin's dad is the leader of the police force in the town, and he is definitely one of the best characters in the show. He's the opposite to Kevin despite being his father. He's an aggressive, testosterone-filled, due to his patches, heroin chicken addict, and that's just the start. He only wants the best for his son, even though he shot him in the testicles and now has to wear testosterone patches. Also, Tom Kenny voices the character. Is there any type of voice that that man can't do? He goes from SpongeBob to Gary in Final Space to this. His voice is incredible, and you'll find yourself laughing at this character specifically a lot. Bullet. I think Bullet is probably the most relaxed character in the show. However, he's the character that I have the most problems with. He's a drug user and tries to get women, and is a dog. Now, does that sound familiar? He's just too similar to the likes of Brian from Family Guy. He has the same kind of attitude and mentality as what Brian does, and for me, it doesn't quite cut it. Although Brian is a fan favourite in Family Guy, this character just doesn't quite do it for me. Gina. Gina is the cop that is as tough as nails and has an anger problem. She's always up for arresting somebody and takes pride in doing so, as you can see by her scrapbook. I suppose that makes her a good person, the fact that she wants to arrest people. However, she beats the crap out of them, so I guess not. She's a great character to watch and keeps you entertained, and also her relationship with Dusty is very funny. Dusty. This is another character that you'll find yourself laughing at a lot. The fact this character is clearly quite dim and is the one that gets manipulated the most is hilarious to watch. You'll be on the floor laughing with certain stories that he gets himself tied up into and some of the characters that he plays. The other two cops. These two characters bring something to the show, but they're the ones that if they weren't there, it wouldn't bother me that much at all. That's literally all I feel I can say about them. The old guy is forgetful and seems as though he's stuck in the past, and that's about it. He has the occasional one-liner that's funny, but nothing that really stands out. Each individual cop in the station brings something uniquely different to the screen. You're never left missing out when they're all in a scene, and it brings great entertainment. Also, let's just give it up for the two guys that always get hurt. The animation. The art style of the show and the way it is animated is very easy on the eye and pleasant to watch. It reminds me of Family Guy a little bit, but of course it's in the same style as Brickleberry, which is good to see for consistency. Certain things that happen in the show, such as Bullet having his balls battered to pieces, and then a few hours later them being huge, suits the style perfectly. The opening title sequence is great and I love the dramaticness of it. Every time the show starts, it's something that I do not skip past, even though Netflix tries to get me to. It almost deserves to be longer because it looks that good. The show looks very 2018 and is easy to watch, and I can imagine will age well. The humour. The show is rated a 15 and it definitely pushes the boundary with that age rating. It involves a lot of sex, violence and gruesome visuals and jokes. But it's hilarious and makes the show what it is. So if you're going into it thinking it's going to be tame like Final Space and Disenchantment, think more along the lines of Big Mouth. It has the boundary-pushing humour that can divide audiences. I think it's interesting to see a show that pushes it this far. This is due to the fact that new animated shows on Netflix seem to be coming out every fortnight now, whereas this show definitely distinguishes itself compared to the others. Final thoughts. Overall, I would say that this show is a must watch, as you'll be laughing out loud for the majority of it, and when you're not laughing out loud, you'll be chuckling at all the one-liners. I've not seen Brickleberry before other than the occasional episode, but I'll most definitely be watching it now. I'm hoping that they make a season 2. What did you think of the show? Did you enjoy it? Do you think that it's better than Brickleberry? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.